In this noisy AI world, my job is to cut through that noise and bring you something that can help you grow in your careers. In this regard, today I am joined with a very senior industry leader, Ritu Chakravarti, who is heading global L&D for a large MNC. We will understand from Ritu how the landscape of learning and landscape of capability building has changed after AI has grown in last couple of years. We will also understand what is working in AI and what is not working, how leaders are looking to AI growth, and how the teams will look like 2 years from now. It's a very interesting conversation, guys, and we will enjoy that. But first, let me put a disclaimer. Both my guest and me are not representing any organizations, and we are talking in our personal capacities. With that in mind, let's go ahead and enjoy the podcast. Hi Ritu, welcome to Unfold Data Science. Thanks for taking time out today for us. And we have been thinking a lot about talking to industry leaders and understand beyond the buzzwords of AI and data, how leaders think about these and what is actually happening in the industry. So, first of all, welcome. And if you could talk a bit about yourself, and then we will go on to the discussions.
Thank you, Aman, and thank you for having me with Unfold Data Science. I'm really honored because I have been going through your videos, and those are really interesting and insightful. So I look forward to this conversation today. A little bit about myself. I have started my career as a developer and in C, C++, Java. In those days, it was really interesting. And then I was managing projects, and at that time, I felt doing something different. And I changed my career track to learning track. And from then onwards, I nurtured talent in various dimensions, pure learning as well as talent framework and advising customers. So that's what I do.
Yeah, that's really great. So, beginning with hardcore development role and then moving to learning track and capability track. From that, what I would like to understand is AI being there since many decades, but now it's like none of the meetings are going without using this word AI, and everybody talks of AI capability building or enabling people in AI and those metric they are capturing. So, first thing I want to understand from your experience is how do you see AI capability building and those metric that orgs capture and tell that here is our AI literacy and here is what you can expect from our people. So, how do you look at that?
Sure, Aman. And this is a really interesting question because, as you said, every meeting, every conversation, we are hearing the word AI and even Gen AI, and nowadays a lot Agentic AI, right? So, um, the last 2 years, what we have seen is the conversation was a lot more what AI can do for us. And now I think it is part of the system, it's part of our whatever we are doing, and that's where the conversation is a little changing to flashy demos or a lot of jargons to actually see that how AI is impacting the workflow. Now, that's a major shift, right? And if I look at some of the industry leaders, analysts, and the consulting firms, they are talking about how AI is going to orchestrate everything. So it's a lot more a simple tool anymore, but AI is influencing the complete enterprise in terms of the orchestration, right? So that's a game changer, I would say, and that's getting more and more interesting for all of us. Now, having said that, I think as you asked that how are we preparing ourselves and what is our capability roadmap, capability strategies. Now, when I think about capability, it is a lot more than only human capability nowadays. So if I look at from the organization capability platform point of view, capability point of view, so it is thinking about how agentic workflows, agentic implementation is impacting our entire organization, right? And to see that it is more and more becoming digital workers in our ecosystem. So it's the impact is twofold. One is we as a human being, we need to know how do we work with the digital worker, how do we create that ecosystem of digital worker, and at the same time we also need to think about the digital worker, how do they work with us, right? So this entire ecosystem is completely changing. And having my experience in talent development and career architecture for almost 100K learners, I can tell you that it is more towards how do we bring human in loop kind of ecosystem that we are building, and whether it is the technology part of it that we need to master, we still need to master. There are talks that people say that it's no code, low code era. And do we really need to know the coding? Yes, the answer is very much yes. You really need to know the coding. The technology is still you need to master. But at the same time, you need to master the skills where you can work with the digital worker, and the digital workers also can have that seamless environment to work with the human beings, right? So that's where a larger talent development is happening, and it's a much larger canvas for us, and interesting canvas, I would say.
Yeah, talking of digital workers, so as you rightly said, no code, low code platforms, whichever platforms it is good till the time it is working. But if there are bugs, I know many people who are working in these platforms. If there are issues and bugs, then that gives really tough time to solve those in low code, no code platforms.
And just to add, I think, as you rightly said, that it's a lot more supervisor roles that we are seeing nowadays, right? And so you may have the help from the agents in every space, in every business, but then you really need to know the context, and one has to know that how do we bring that supervision skill to govern the agents, right, in a right way. So we are seeing a lot more supervision, a supervisor role, and that is where we need to adapt a different set of skills to supervise the agents.
Yeah, and I'm also observing there is one area where a lot of interest is coming, and that is critical thinking with AI. And rightly, that is there. So when I use cursor for building codes or something, many a times it is very tempting to click those buttons that run this command or execute this code. But there has to be a human in the loop, of course, and some bit of critical thinking.
Absolutely agree with you that critical thinking, problem solving, I think those are the skills which are coming up at the top now, because we need to really know that what problem that we would like to solve, whether for ourselves or for our customers. And then how do we make an ecosystem which will be helpful for the customer, but in that ecosystem we will work with our digital worker. But I mean, at the we need to know the larger picture. That is extremely important, and that's where the critical thinking, problem solving, as well as creativity, I think that is as well a top skill, that we need to bring the creativity to solve problems. It's not a very straightforward playground anymore. It's complex problems. So if there is a mess, we can bring AI automation and just streamline and do the automation and make our productivity much higher. But I really need to understand that what problem that I am solving, and how can I become a little more creative in solving that problem, right? So in all practical purpose, I really need to understand, it's no more a game of who has the best LLM, but it is the game of who has the best workflow, right? So, and that's where I think the the set of skills are changing from a traditional way of thinking to critical thinking, complex problem solvings, and the creativity.
Yeah, these are the skills which um, anyone who is wanting to use AI, or in the future, if they say that I'm AI capable, I can use AI. You can't. The truth is you can't use AI without these. So these are must to have.
Absolutely.
So I'll move to one of my very favorite topic, and I'm sure you would have seen that a lot in your experience. Lot of reports are saying that around so data is different, but all point to the same thing. So some say that 60 to 65%, or some say that 80% of AI pilots never make it to the production, or even 90%. When we do pilots, we put our resources, we put our effort, we try to do some POCs, try to see what is working, what is not working. Then what is that which is stopping me to go to production?
Oh, that's so relevant question, Aman, because you rightly said, and we are observing a POC wall. We call it as a POC wall. That it's like huge number of POCs, but uh, it's not that every POC is making to the production. You rightly said. Some observations that we are seeing that maybe 38% of the organizations have crossed that experimentation zone and then going to the production. But the trend is changing. I can tell you that in last couple of years that we have observed how the POCs were done and then discarded at times, but versus how things are happening now, right? And a large amount of organizations have started implementing AI in their workflow, and I think majority of the CEOs are saying that they are going to implement at least one AI solution in their organization by end of 2026, which is massive, right? And I think that will be a phenomenal to see that how things are changing. I myself have tried a lot, and I think I can tell you that it's working for us. But the only important part that we need to take care of it is the trust factor. And when I say trust factor, and that is something to do with the data protection and the ethics in the AI world, right? And that's exactly where most of the POCs are struggling still, and then we need to be very sure about any POCs to be taken to the production, that whether it is actually doing the right thing, right? And that is where multiple iterations of testing and validations are going on, and I completely respect that. Even if it is taking a longer time for us to validate any POCs, but it is worth, because in the larger cause, I think it is important for us to have that confidence for that particular AI engine, that it will do the right thing when it is taken to the production, because once it is in the production, then it will impact larger people and larger business, right? So before we take it to the production, we just need to ensure that ethical AI is taken care of.
What I have observed is in regulatory situations such as bank, finance, healthcare, or government, uh, people are able to use a bit of AI nowadays. AI and generative AI people use interchangeably, but let's say generative AI, in they will make an internal RAG, or they will make an internal chatbot. Whenever it comes to anything to do with the customer or any core business, that is where we get a big pushback from the business saying that, guys, we are fine what we are doing, but don't break anything. This is the area we can take risk in. So rightly you said guardrails and trust, and that reconciliation factor, the governance factor, all those need to win the confidence of stakeholders.
Yes, absolutely. But as I said, that gone are those days where it is chatting with AI. It's no more chatting with AI, but it is the building with agentic AI right now. So we are changing very fast. We are changing, So AI adoptions, agentic AI adoptions are much more now, and ethical AI, governance of AI, there in that space as well, a lot of good work is happening, and we are also getting matured. The processes are getting matured. As you said, guardrails, very important in this context. Guardrails are getting matured, and we are able to implement those in a very faster way, and we know the process by now, and then that is helping us to move forward faster. And that is why you are seeing that more and more POCs are making it to production nowadays.
Yeah, as these things, agentic space gets matured, it has to come with those trust components, and then we can harness the benefit of that in a nice way. In your experience, have you seen that if stakeholders are happy with and basically they trust the system, then they are quite comfortable with taking it to the next level?
Oh, yes, absolutely. And we are getting a lot of go ahead with the POCs as well. So we tried out with POCs, as you said, pilots. And then in a small cohort, we keep on trying that out. Once we get a complete go ahead from certain functions, and those functions are extremely important, starting with the data protection and then the legal part of it. So we ensure that we get those approvals in place, required approvals, and satisfying those guardrails. And then we are taking it ahead, and we are making it available for the larger audience and larger consumers, and it's absolutely appreciated by the consumers as well. So I can tell you that various business processes that we have been trying, especially in the learning domain, and then for the talent space where I work currently. So in that space, we have been trying in terms of skill validation, skill gap analysis, the learning experience. So all these things, and avatar based, agentic based, all these we have tried, and then we of course we are seeing that this has been getting approved in a proper way. There is a approval workflows which we follow, and then once it gets approved, then of course we see that when we take it to the production, the consumption is very very nice and at large.
Yeah, you spoke about some very interesting things in capability space or learning space. So, if you could tell us a bit more about what are those and what they do, like at high level.
Sure, sure, sure. That's an interesting area, and I believe the talent and learning space are getting extremely impacted by this AI and Gen AI in a very positive way. So, what I can think of is we have been trying a lot of agents, and we have been interacting in the industry, whatever is available, and there are global partners who are doing these experiments also, and we have been interacting with them. So largely what we have seen a trend is, one is the coaching or the mentoring is happening by the agents, right? And which
Hmm.
means that I can just converse with an agent and then I can learn anything. And there are plenty of apps which are available right now in the market, which you can use, and then you can see that uh, that experience is phenomenal. So that's one thing. Another one is the one which I mentioned about the skill gap, and then heavy usage of AI in the skill gaps, because we have been in IT service industry, and overall IT industry itself has evolved in last 2 decades, right? And it's like a very fast evolution where we have I mean, so many skill discoveries have happened in IT industry itself. Now if I just combine IT industry and the core industry, we are talking about a huge skill repository. And then this skill repository, if I just think about the skill gap analysis, it's huge, right? And humongous. So if AI can help there, and truly speaking, AI is helping us. And there are beautiful AI engines in the market, and which we are also leveraging, and we are experiencing that it is helping us to understand at an individual level what is the skill gap. at any cohort level or at the organization level, what is the skill gap, what is the skill repository. First of all, I think before the gap itself, I think it actually it's helping us to measure the talent, measure the skill in any cohort for an individual as well. So it's really helpful to see that how AI is helping this entire talent space. So there are many potentials and many opportunities that we can foresee going forward, and we will be working towards that to make things much smarter and much productive as well. Eventually, helping the employees for a beautiful employee value proposition, right? Because if we help an individual to understand skill gap analysis at any point in time dynamically and in a very democratic way, so then the employees become empowered and take certain decisions on their own and for their own benefit. At the same time, the organization also understands what is the talent pool or talent measurement that um, at the organization level it has, and then there could be a lot of business decision taken, which will be helpful for the organization's future. So the opportunities and the possibilities are tremendous here.
Yeah, I have also noticed many new AI companies, like very small companies, but they are building products on education, something on L&D or capability using AI. Some of these are really growing fast.
Absolutely, completely agree with you, because I'll tell you what, this space is so interesting because we work in the knowledge industry, and it is all about talent. So, how do we nurture talent? How do we improve, continuously improve in this space so that the talent can thrive and do better than yesterday's? So, that is where this space is evolving continuously, what we see. And many universities have adopted AI in a very innovative way, where they are implementing an augmented ecosystem, that how AI can help the professors, how AI can help the complete university admin areas. At the same time, we are seeing a very similar trend in the corporate, where we are also seeing that we are aligning this entire AI driven smart ecosystem towards our business and towards our employees, and we are really getting benefited.
So these are very interesting actually. Skill gap analysis, if we see, there is one old school way of telling me learn this and it will be good for you, and then there is a very smart way of telling me, Aman, at your experience level, this is what you should learn and this is how it will help you. So that makes a huge difference.
Yes, absolutely. I think you have rightly pointed out the difference is that earlier it was prescriptive and
Hmm.
it was quite restricted, that you can learn only this. But now it is like completely open, and the content wise, I think it's a huge amount of content which is available. And then these platforms which you just mentioned, right? And these interesting platforms are giving suggestions, and then so many recommendations are coming, and giving the power to the individual to take a final decision. And that's where the experience of an individual is completely changing, and that's very interesting.
That's very interesting, and they will see the reward also. Like if a colleague has done this, then it has benefited. Obviously, it will be intelligence based. It will be learning based, since we are talking AI. So obviously, they may see the immediate benefit also.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So learning and capability space, lot and lot of things in knowledge space using AI. But since I also create educational content, and sometimes I think you are into this field since very long time, I would just love to hear your perspective. That human touch, right? For example, when Aman comes and talk about large language models, and when an avatar comes and talk about large language models, does it make a difference, or will it make a difference after 5 years?
Well, that's a very interesting question, Aman. And I would say that the trend is that it is augmented, right? And we have been using this word for long and quite frequently, and that is still relevant, where we are saying that it's not only human, or it's not only agentic delivery of sessions or content creation. It is always both coming together and making an impact, and that is the trend. I mean, all of us are tending towards that, where we are saying that we will consume certain content, certain learning contents, which are available by agentic AI, and then I may interact with certain questions where I'm comfortable to have those conversation with agentic AI. But in some areas, I still get comfortable for validation, right? And I still feel that, okay, I have listened from the agentic AI, and I have had this conversation with agentic AI, and I'm satisfied. But so that is where it is. But I will also get a validation done by a human expert. So the human expertise will still be there and will be needed in future as well. The types may change, or the interactions may change, and the type of, or the formats of the interactions will change. But I would say that the human and agentic AI coming together for nurturing talent will be the trend going forward. So we are hearing a lot of this from Gen Zs as well, because right now our corporate industry, or the IT industry, if I may say, it's a mix of Gen Zs as well as people who are retiring. So we have a huge spectrum to cover in terms of the learning and in terms of the talent. But this trend is across. I can tell you that people who are veteran in the industry and in the top career of their their career, uh, plus who are newly joining us, right? And if I look at their trend, it's kind of an human plus agentic AI augmented ecosystem is getting consumed for learning.
Yeah, and going back to the human behavior of these many centuries, there is a trust factor there. So this across the industry, across all sectors, whatever AI does is one part, and then let's say somebody wants to listen from Ritu that what is AI capability landscape. Then if you come for even for 5 minutes, and if you just talk one to one, that makes a huge difference. And then like we discussed, right, it can be complemented with agentic workflows, etc.
Yes, I think the help that we are receiving vastly from AI and Gen AI is the huge amount of data consolidation and data processing, and helping us with the insights in no time, right? So that's where the huge benefit that we are realizing already. And the augmented part, right, where the human is coming and adding value, and that's the experience of an human being, and that's where the value remains. So it's a beautiful mixed of the data insights plus the human experience coming together and making a positive impact in the industry.
We can do the things at a speed which were never imagined before, and at a hyper personalized level. So with every person we can understand what to cater, what not to cater, what is the weakness, what is the strength, and those plans can be made on the fly. And these are the capabilities that is making us more capable of doing things faster and better.
Yes, you rightly said that. I think the AI, whatever is happening in the AI era, it is helping us to build our own capabilities multifolds. And that's where we are taking help, leveraging AI to empower our capabilities and doing much more and much smarter way.
You are also interacting with leaders from the industry, various organizations maybe, and you might be seeing the trend on capability landscape. Do you think that whatever we spoke now, or how we are incorporating AI in capability building space or learning space. Do you see that happening everywhere, or still there is that status quo that these are not going to work well?
No, no. I think the leaders are appreciating the technology much more than ever, and realizing the value that AI can give their enterprises is enormous. So technology is embraced by the leaders. There is no doubt about it. How I am seeing the leaders are interacting with AI and implementing AI in their own spaces, it is no more than a tool, right? I mean, it's not a tool anymore. So what we are seeing is how the workflows are changing, and that's where the leaders are bringing the context, and the strategies are built by those contexts, and that is the bespoke customized models which are coming up for their own enterprise. So whatever works for the organization where I work versus whatever organization that you work for, so there could be a complete different approach in altogether. But still we will be using the LLMs, right? And we will be using the agentic space a lot more, but in our own way. And another enormous transformation which is happening is because of this low code, no code part, and how business leaders are also capable of utilizing this AI technology in their own way and in an easier way now. So the business translation is happening much faster way. So the leaders are leveraging this AI technology in an interesting way, in a very contextualized way, and for their own workflows, right? So it's a huge impact that we are seeing the business leaders are bringing by embracing this technology.
Yeah, I can relate very well with that. When leaders are on board with us for something, then the inputs we get is priceless. That is like too helpful for giving context to your any AI service you are building.
Yes, absolutely.
And that is where we can harness all the learnings of all these years, and business learnings, and how customer behaves, and how customer churns, and everything like that. We can feed the right context, and we can get the most out of the system.
Yes, and going back to that context part, and if I link it with the customers also, right? So many people are saying that now it is the AI solutions. So every organization will give the same solution, but I don't agree with that, and that is where the contextualizing in the customer's business problem areas or our own problem areas is so meaningful right now. So it is much more purpose driven, and how do we leverage this AI for AI technology at large for a particular purpose. And purpose, when I say it, is the business problem I'm talking about. So that is where the leaders are bringing their experience and making a difference by contextualizing it, right? And every leader will think and implement their AI technologies in their own way, and based on their own experience and how they perceive the problem and how they understand this problem, and how do they think that this problem can be creatively solved through AI. So if I think about that space, and that's where each solutions will be different for a particular business problem, it's highly possible that the set of leaders think in a different way and bring values in a different way through a contextualized workflow, right? So that's how each solution will still be different and still be interesting, and that is where the competitive advantages, disadvantages will also play. So things are interesting. I think I can see a huge potential in this space.
And that is where someone who is building technology, hands-on guys or LLM engineers or AI engineers, they also have to put their we spoke in the beginning, the problem solving ability or critical thinking abilities to make most of it.
Yes, and that's where I think a lot more for IT service industry. I can tell you that it is a lot more focus on customers' business understanding and not only having the technology capability, right? So earlier days, if I know only technology, I can survive or I can do well in my career. But now I think it is important for us to understand in what context this technology is getting used. And the context is nothing but if I really need to understand the problem statement of the customer, I really need to understand my customer and my customer's business. So it is, I really need to understand the industry that in which the customer is working or diversifying. So I need to um, be well aware of all these elements and then think of that how can I bring my technology implementation with a purpose.
Yeah, the knowledge, if somebody is working on technology and they have a decent understanding of what is the problem customer is trying to solve, what is the knowledge that will help to solve that problem, that combination is nice to have for the
Yeah,
upcoming years.
so right now, if I think about a person who is working in the technology area, and if that person is using AI technology for a telecom customer, then that person is needed to understand what this telecom industry is, what their customers are looking ahead for solving this problem, and how will it help in customers' telecom business, right? So just an example. So likewise, every customer's problem has to be looked at through various lenses, not only AI lens, but their problem areas and their industry lenses also. So as I mean, it's connecting back to that context that I was mentioning, right? It's so relevant to understand the context rather than just blindly implement technology.
So the agentic area is going to grow at a phenomenal rate now, and 2026 and beyond, the projection is huge, up to 2030 and 35 also. Uh, Based on your experience in different areas, like we spoke about telecom or regulatory, like banking and finance, or what are some of the interesting use cases if you'd like to mention that agents are already doing it?
So I think there are many use cases, but I will go a little deep into the talent frameworks and the skill gaps and how are we helping our customers and how we can see that these use cases are helping in the industry, right? So if I think about the use cases, obviously in terms of productivity increase in any sectors, it is happening, right? And that's the massive impact. And if I just double click on the productivity improvement, SDLC is one such area in our industry, and helping I mean, bringing AI technologies and improving the SDLC area itself, which means the AI operations, is another huge area that we are seeing. That agentic AI implementation in the SDLC area, and then the AI operations area to enhance the productivity. And if I just take that example and think about my own areas, use cases, how the learning happens currently and the learning solutions are given to our employees and our customers, I think that's changing phenomenally. Uh, so again, it's no more that you are asking me what to learn and I'm just giving a course link. It is no more that way, but it is the platform that we are creating, right? And across many industry players, that you can see that there are many platforms and products are getting created. So we are shifting from core service mindset to a bit of IP mindset, and that's where we are seeing the productivity increase and SDLC implementations. AI implementation in the SDLC is certainly helping us achieving higher productivity, and it's a massive use case. But then there are business use cases also. But I think I will stick to this generic use case, which I can tell you that the AI operations and the SDLC implementations through AI. These are actually very impactful use cases that we are seeing in the industry.
I was also noticing Atlassian has built a robo that is agent on the Confluence and Jira, and that's so good. I mean, so fast and it does the job very nicely. And it was a big problem for us traditionally going to different Confluence pages. If I have to understand, let's say, project architecture, I will go and find where is that page. Then I will look and summarize. This robo can do everything like very very fast and very smartly. So that's also I have seen as a great asset for anybody building on hands on the projects.
And I'll pick up that example and I can tell you that from there it is getting linked to the learning part of it. Again, I'm being a little selfish here because I go back to that learning part time and again because that's my area of expertise. I'll just take that example, what you just mentioned about Jira, right? And then the next level is an agent telling me by analyzing your code in Jira and then telling me directly that, okay, looks like you are making this mistake or you need more knowledge, may not be mistakes, but you need more knowledge to do a smarter work. And these are the
Hmm.
content that you can go through. So that's where we are going. So, and that's really interesting because it's much faster and the help is coming much faster for us. So we can do more and we can do smarter things in the world. So exactly what you mentioned, it is getting linked to the next level of learning intervention by an agent and giving a solution right there to the developers and to the technologist and saying that you need to go through this content to know this better and perform this better.
Yeah, and it can link to your code optimization or bug fix or
Absolutely.
modular programming or all those things, and it can get it done faster. Plus, it can educate the developer as well.
Absolutely.
So, if we go deeper into these areas, lot of learnings to lot of basically knowledge to feed to AI system, and if AI systems has those knowledges, then it can give us back also very very useful stuff.
Yes, and that's a very critical area. You touched upon a very sensitive area. I think how we provide the data sets and data lake to the my AI engine, that's so critical. And from there itself, our data protection areas and data privacy, those things kick in, right? I mean, it's not at the end of the AI engine, but at the beginning itself. It's so important for us that what is the data set that we are providing for an AI engine to play around and to learn, and it's up to us to design and up to us to get those access in a right way. And when I say right way, and that is the key thing here, that what is the how do we decide on what is the right data set, what is the right pool of users to access in the pilot phase, so that we are helping the AI engine to learn from those users, right? And those are so critical elements for us to think through in a deeper way and then take decisions, because it has a I mean larger impact and long term impact. So we really need to be careful about the data set itself, that how are we making the AI engines learn.
That is where you mentioned about multiple rounds of testing, multiple iterations
Yeah.
of going deeper into what it is doing and gaining that trust. And even if resources, time, etc., goes in that, it's fine because it's a long term thing. It's not like a very small pilot we are building.
Yes, absolutely. And it's not only time, but the data sets also. It's important that how big your data set and how diversified your data set is, and based on which your engine gets engine picks up their its learning. So it's so important that we invest there. It's high investment at times to ensure the right data sets, but that is worth.
That is what that is basically very similar to some people are comparing it to cloud adoption in the beginning.
Yes,
And once orgs moved to cloud, then it became quite easy to do few things. And but that migration took like it was painful.
I agree completely. So at the end of the day, I think, as I said, the AI technology, we are all embracing AI technologies. Are we can see huge benefit for the industries. But how do we go and create those workflows, and how do we define those guardrails? How do we define the trust factor? It is essential for us.
And the human judgment also, basically, we are still at not at that level where critical tasks can be done without a basically most of the things there has to be a final button click or something by a human, maybe with more learning, with more experiences, that will also come down. Human in the loop need.
Yes, yes. I think at present, human in the loop is the key thing, and the role of human is going towards supervisor role, right? As I mentioned earlier, and that becomes key. That we need to have a supervisor, we need to have reviewers, we need to have the validator from the human beings. And but the interesting space is how it evolves. Today we can see certain percentage in the project that we have the agentic AI already coming, right? But then will it evolve and completely replace the entire human cohort? That's a question mark right now.
Yeah. And there also comes the our initial points of problem solving or critical thinking, or looking at AI outputs with an eye of slight suspicion, we can say. So for example, if I go to ChatGPT and say, give me an idea to increase my revenue, so it will give me some ideas based on some assumptions. So if someone is using Gen AI for critical tasks, they need to keep that in mind, that AI is making some assumptions without context, and let's look at that with that in mind.
Yes, absolutely. Completely agree with you.
So if someone is watching this, Rito, let's say 10-year guy working in data science or working in some other technology, Java, etc., and want to come to data science or AI, want to build their careers in this, want to grow, what would be your advice for them?
Yeah, I think uh, advice per se, what I mentioned throughout this conversation, couple of things I'll just pick up and summarize. One is the context. We really need to understand the context. I think the technology learning part of it is happening in a very natural way, and content is available. I think there are a lot of platforms that people can use to understand their skill gaps, and based on their aspirations, they can pick up the technology learning. But let us bring that technology learning in the context, and then apply that knowledge in that context, and think about the workflow which will solve certain problems. So understand the problem, understand the purpose, and understand the context, and then link it with the technology applications. And there, overall, I think bringing that trust and guardrail will be extremely important for each and every individual. And at the end of the day, I think it is they also need to think about that, how to work with a digital worker, right now we think about our own job descriptions and our own supervisor. In a very similar way, in no time the digital worker will also think in that line, and then digital worker will also expect a job description, a skill set, and this is happening already. So anyone who is having 2 year experience, 10 year experience, or 20 years experience, everybody has to learn that how do they work seamlessly with the digital worker. and considering that digital worker is my colleague, right? So the digital worker will be treated as an employee of the organization, so with respect and with dignity and with clear definition of the task and clear definition of the guardrails. So it's important for us to understand and contextualize again, as I was mentioning, that in every context, how do we work with the digital worker? So that's future, but not so far away. So it's better to get prepared in that mindset and get ready for the interesting world that we are going to see in few years now.
Yeah, that was really interesting way of putting it, Ritu. So, if 10 people team means you can expect one or two digital coworkers,
Absolutely right. Yes.
and then people need to learn the art of taking most, working as a team and gaining most from them at the same time, not lose their core skills or thinking capabilities or basic learnings that they have gained all these years.
Yes, that is true, and it will be mutual. And as we started our conversation, that a lot of agentic AI augmented environment that we are going to work in, right? So that's what it is, right? I mean, it will be a combination of human and AI agent, where we need to learn from each other and we need to empower each other, but at the same time we need to help each other to excel, right? I mean, if agentic AI is helping us doing things faster or making us smarter, we also in return we are also giving that learning back, right? I mean, the data back, and then certain prompts back in a way it is needed. So I just cannot give junk back to the agentic AI, and then the agentic AI will learn something else. So I also need to be sensitive and treating agentic AI or the digital worker as my colleague, so that I give the prompts appropriately and in the context with the purpose, so that my digital worker or my colleague, digital colleague, will learn from me in a right way, and then in return again help. So it's a continuous process which will continue, and it's interesting that how we can see that this is evolving, and it's going to be phenomenal, I would say.
Yeah, I'm also, and it's going to be very, very interesting. So, something very new, very fresh.
Very fresh, and I'm excited about it.
Yeah. Thanks a lot for your time, Ritu, today. And it was very lovely talking to you.
Wonderful conversation, Aman, and thank you for having me here. I really enjoyed. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Ritu. Take care. Bye.